I still hear the whispers in the dark, the same words over and over, run. It was a night I wish I could forget, but it always comes back to me. It was a few years ago in my village, where stories of a wicked prince were common. They said he could make you see your worst fears just by looking at you. Most of us laughed it off, but deep down, we all felt something was wrong. One evening, the prince came to our village. He was tall, with sharp features and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Everyone gathered, curious and scared. The elders warned us to stay away, but some of the braver kids, including me, couldn't resist. We wanted to see if the stories were true. As he spoke, the air grew colder. I watched him charm the crowd, but I felt a chill in my bones. Then he called for a game, a test of bravery. "Come forward," he said, pointing at us. "Who among you is fearless?" Before I could think, I stepped up. I didn't want to show fear, even though my heart raced. The prince's eyes locked onto mine, and suddenly, I was in a dark place. I saw shadows moving, faces I recognized, friends and family twisted in pain, screaming without sound. I tried to look away, but I couldn't. Then I heard a voice, my mother's voice, whispering, "Run." It broke through the darkness, and just like that, I was back in front of the prince. He was grinning, but his smile was wrong, like a wolf ready to pounce. "Brave boy," he said. "But fear is always there, lurking." I stepped back, trembling. I could feel the fear wrapping around me like a snake. Other kids laughed, but I could see their faces were pale. I wanted to tell them to stop playing, to run home, but I couldn't find my voice. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every noise made me jump. I thought of what I saw, of the prince's eyes that seemed to know me better than I knew myself. The next day, I heard whispers in the village. People were missing, friends I played with just the day before. Their families were searching, but there were no signs. Just an empty space where laughter used to be. Weeks passed, and the prince was still around, and every time he came close, the shadows returned. It was like he was feeding on our fear. People started to leave the village, one by one, until it felt empty and haunted. One night, I gathered my courage and went to find him. I had to know if he was behind the disappearances. I found him in the woods, laughing to himself. As I approached, I felt that darkness again, but I pushed through. "What did you do?" I shouted. His eyes locked on mine. "You should be careful, little boy. Curiosity can lead to unfortunate endings." In that moment, I felt the weight of the darkness press down on me. I couldn't breathe. I turned and ran, the whispers in my head screaming for me to get away. I didn't stop until I reached home. I've left the village now, but sometimes I dream of that prince. Sometimes I hear whispers in the dark, and I know that fear doesn't just disappear. It lingers, waiting. And if you ever hear a voice in the night saying "run," you better listen.